Welcome back, everybody. It's game number 2, MnM versus BDS, and now we get into the danger zone. Welcome to the Analyst Desk. I'm also your host. With me are Ann and Fresh. We're in spooky mode because it is quite spooky for all of our teams coming up in the next 3 games. We start off with MnM versus BDS, and there's a big chance to go with major. BDS are already confirmed. MnM are fighting. They need all 3 points to make it through, and that's not even confirmed. It does depend on the next 2 games. So how about we have a chat about that? I'm Milosh and Fresh. Hello. Let's introduce our teams. Everybody knows them right now. BDS. Look, Jack, do you know a thing or two about the squad?
I know more than a thing or two about this squad.
Just a couple things.
BDS, what a team. Like, genuinely, what a team. They've improved. And when you was a team that has conquered Europe, they've conquered all of Europe, and then they've gone to the international events, and then not quite hit the mark at international events, then a big drop-off. And then you're going to go, well, what's going on? What do we need to change? Because we've got probably the best 5 French players. We've got that team. We will go to all of the events, and then it's not happened for them. So they change. They bring in EFAC. They change up the style. You know, you've seen Lems, you've seen Renchi go more towards the back line. They change up the style, and then they start conquering Europe again. Other than a blip against Rogue, it's been very good. And the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've started putting on the clinical performances that we want to see out of BDS, where the teamwork's been on point, where the entry's been on point, where everything has been perfect.
Exactly. The team has a lot of plans as well. And second of all the EOL teams when it comes down to plans, for example, we see Playday consistently being getting a lot of plants on the board. He's been very influential in his team in regards of clutches as well. However, there are situations where he gets put in a clutching situation, and there's no way he can win that out. But then you have the solid front line. You have Leak Effect, who, as you said earlier, has been awarded the Rookie of the Year and has really been putting in a shift.
Well, what about on the other side, MnM, and what can you tell me about them?
Yeah, MnM got a really good victory against Heroic last week on Theme Park. They had a really good read into what Heroic brought in the previous game, but that really enabled them to win those rounds. They banned out the Monty, that helped them a lot. And something I really liked as well is, if you think about the interview that Nello did last week, he said, well, we've won against BDS before, we should be able to do that. If you look at it historically, they have been winning their games against BDS in this year, but then BDS lineup has changed a little bit. MnM seem to struggle a bit with their attacks. They have been struggling with giving away those player advantages. We've seen a number of clutches in your award show being against MnM. That is something they're starting to improve on, though.
The one thing for me of MnM is I look at their last 2 performances, starting off with the G2 game 2 weeks ago, where they should have won the game and didn't. And it was a typical MnM game where they looked pretty poor, in all honesty. They was up against a very poor G2 that day in what was a poor quality match. And then I look at the last week's performance on Theme Park, where they looked absolutely excellent, and I'm just like, I don't know which one's going to turn up. For me, it's all in MnM's hands, depending on how they play and their consistency. That's the big factor of MnM, is consistency.
Let's talk about, I guess, the top players that we need to look at here. We have a head-to-head for you. Our analyst picked 1 player out of each one of these 2 teams. So who are they? Tyrant and Likefak. Jack?
Goat.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tell me about them.
Look, these are 2, and we pulled Tyrant. We could have pulled Solotov for MnM, and we could have pulled Shaiko for BDS. But these are the 2 like key players, 2 of the, I would say, game win players. When you want your, massive game, which is what this is. For BDS, this is a massive game, because you're talking about seeding. For MnM, this is a massive game because you're talking about the major and SI and EU finals. These are the 2 guys that are going to have to show up on.
Exactly, they have the same rating. Likefak is leading a lot of the scoreboards when it comes down to KD and everything, but these players, as you say, both have that same kind of role where they sneak into the building, where they get those solo plays going for themselves, and those last games for both players have been really, really good, where they went 8-9 or 9-1 for EFAC and 7-0 for Tyrant in the first few rounds. If they can put that up today, we might see a spectacular match.
I'm definitely looking forward to it being that way, not a flop one way or the other. Our map, though, for this series, what will it be? Bring it up on the screen for everybody to see, and we're going to go to Oregon. Okay, the Graveyard of Empires is what we have here. Clubhouse, banned out by MnM. They start off on the attacking side. Defense for BDS. And thoughts?
The Clubhouse ban by MnM makes sense. A lot of people don't want to take BDS to Clubhouse. Makes a little sense to me, but I'm surprised that Oregon actually came through. If you look at that, BDS keeps on banning this map consistently. They've lost it against Rogue, as you mentioned, their only loss they had. And this is actually the map where MnM has the best defensive win rate. They won earlier against Rogue, so if you compare that, it should be a really good chance for MnM to win this game.
I think for BDS, they traditionally previously liked Oregon, but they don't anymore. I'm going to say they're kind of hiding maps for the major.
So let's remind everybody of our graphic brought to you by Spurbooni and Wrath, of course. Here it is on the screen before we get into game. So MnM versus BDS, our game before Secret TT9 had no impact on it. MnM, should they win in regulations or in overtime, they're good to go. They make it to the major. BDS are already qualified.
Yep. Yeah, but BDS are already qualified, but they have the seeding that really matters to them.
True.
They're currently second, and they need 2 points to get above Wolves, which would put them in an advantage if you look at the groups coming up for the major potentially. So they have a lot to play for as well, despite being qualified for the major.
This game also has massive impact on the following 2 games, right? So you've got 4 teams in the next 2 games that are watching this game because it could change the permutations. If MnM lose this game, Rogue can then lose their game and still qualify. So there's a lot of teams watching this game, hoping that one team wins one way or another.
Yeah, because if MnM wins, then Na'Vi has a very sad ending to their story of this stage, unfortunately.
Oh man, this is going to reverberate on all of our teams here in, well, 4 of them that are fighting for 2 spots. But Fresh, and thank you very much. BDS versus MnM is about to begin. We've got Spooky Dez, Spooky Tim for you. Enjoy.
Spooky Tim Tam to you, Milosh. Hello, Spooky Tim Tam. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm spooky.
How's the mask keeping you going? Oh,
Very good.
We didn't hear the bells. They are meant to ring like bells, and I'm just like, yeah, I love it. Look at them go. They're so cool. I've really enjoyed these, honestly, far more than I should have. It's been absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm actually shocked because I really didn't the shirt was going to fit me, but it is basically a perfect fit. A little bit stretched, maybe.
I think you should try. I think you should try to wear them through the airport. Just like back to normal life. Just keep them like a thing.
People are going to be like, right, mate, come on, mate. Halloween was last night. I got my flight's at like 9 in the morning, so I'll be at the airport at 7:30. They'll just be like, I ain't enough coffee for this crap. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm sorry, officer. I'm sorry. There. It's okay. You could do so much stupid stuff with them. I love it. Oregon, Tim.
Oregon.
It's a thing. It's happening.
BDS versus MnM, it's happening. And it's going to be a big one, Des. As they've said through the pre-show, through the pre-match, it is important on so many levels as to who is going to the major. MnM can guarantee it here and now, but they've got one of the best teams that we've seen in Stage 3 standing in their way. The newly re-energized BDS with Leakafak in there are not going to be an easy opponent, but there is that element that BDS are already qualified.
They are. My biggest worry for MnM is BDS have only lost 1 game all stage long. They really are on fire. And if I look at teams in this competition and say, who realistically can beat BDS? MnM aren't on that list. However, it is a big game energy for them. For BDS, like you say, they've already qualified. Doesn't mean the world to them. I guess if there was any concern around, do BDS want to try and really push for this or not? Like Wolves, their French friends are also in this as well. So this for BDS is a game where they don't really have any investment in which team makes it out of the remaining 4 that possibly can. So this really, to me, comes down to MnM. Just how well are they going to play it? How well are they going to attack it? For me, that always comes back to the front 3 for MnM. Are they all on fire today, or has things fell by the wayside? We started to see Tyrant pick things back up again in Stage 3. Is it going to be enough to bring down a slightly re-energized BDS, as you say, with Leakafak on side? That remains to be seen. But the bans, Tim, they're flown through.
Got a smoke ban, which is an interesting one that we don't always see too often, but we'll see how that one plays out. It depends what you're looking for out of this game as to what result you'll be hoping for. Of course, the MnM fans, they're going to want a nice straight win that's going to take them through to the major, that's going to guarantee that spot. As Anne touched on, that will then change things for the Na'Vi fans, for example, who find themselves in a bit of a sticky situation. But if you just happen to be a neutral who loves the chaos of the last day, say like me, then maybe a BDS win suits you, because MnM is still in the mix. Especially if they maybe get like 1 point in overtime and just really pile it onto those match 3, match 4 outcomes to see what happens. That's going to be the real story.
See, I like a state of selective chaos, of like consistent chaos. You seem to really like a state of selective chaos. Normally when seasons come towards their close, you like the most chaotic ending possible.
Oh, absolutely. Through the season, let's have it nice and orderly, please. Nice and organised. But then when we get to the end, all bets are off and you just go wild. We'll see which of these two teams is going to go wild here on Oregon. 10 seconds in, we've got MnM approaching the building pretty quick, smart. They're going to be attacking on to the basement this time around. It's going to mean a clearance across. Make sure they've got kitchen locked down, security particularly, before they can think about freezer, which is also going to see them having to head up to the top floor. I think I spy Leakerfack up there.
Well, they want to get him out of there because you know exactly the kind of damage that he can do later into the round. Truthfully, Tim, I'm most excited by the lineup coming out of MnM, though. I'm seeing the Ying on side, I'm seeing the Capital, and I'm just thinking, damn, those are some execution tools on side. And Ashiro's been taken out here, so Leakyfack is on the move, seeing if he can trade anything back out here. Sees one, but can't find the shots at all. Solotov with a closeout. And for MnM, that's a dream start to round one.
A dream indeed. Now, are they going to find themselves in a Halloween nightmare as this one progresses? Or are they going to lock down this 5v3? The reason that I pick up on that particularly, Des, is we have seen MnM struggle to close out so many rounds where they have had strongman advantage and should be able to win the round. We've seen them throw away those 4v1s, 3v1s, and that's got to be a thing of the past, particularly if they're going to get to the major and have a successful performance there. Solotov just going up, checking T3, making sure. This is what I like to see from MnM. They can't waste too much time doing it, but they are showing the due diligence, making sure that they're aware, making sure that they've ticked those boxes and that they are not going to find themselves on the wrong end of a surprise towards the end of this round.
Truthfully, Tim, there's no excuse for MnM to lose this round. They've got themselves down in a 5v3. They've got the Ying, they've got Capital, they've got flashbangs, they've got nades, they've got so much to play with that if they somehow manage to throw this one at the wall, one, it's kind of classic MnM, who have a real bad record of throwing away 5v1s and 4v1s, but more than anything else really starts to set the pace of the rest of the game. The mental impact in round one will be a real kicker. Here we've got about 50 seconds still to play with. Solotov getting a nice long angle, and that's why it's worth taking the time to get the vault up. Lem's taken out for free.
Absolute beauty from Solotov there. He's on a real round. Could get the ace, but no. Shaiko's going to shut that down. Tyrant manages to get Playday, though, and it leaves Shaiko all alone. Got about 60, 70 health to work with there. Here's the case going down, but he knows this is not the moment to try and challenge. He steps across, can't find the man in the freezer, and uses. He's going to put him on ice, and that's going to be round one to MnM.
I was going to say, he's behind a soft wall there, so no matter what he does, unless either he runs or he stays and he dies, and he well chose the latter. So good start. Solotov there really cleaning house on top floor as well, finding one that was isolated around Trophy early on, and then getting the second as Leakyfack came in for the trade. One of those where if Leakyfack had got that kill on the top floor, potentially the round is dragged out much further. But in a 5v3, MnM show that composure to get things closed out. Great start.
We're heading into round two then. BDS going to move on. They're not going to go for the basement again. A little bit of a surprise. Basement has been a bit of a stalwart site for BDS. We know that they're solid down there. Heck, they've even got a spot named after one of their players, the Shaiko spot down in the basement. But they are not going to double down. They're going to move away. Maybe that's the BDS of old. This one more adaptable, more willing to change, more flexible. And they're going to go up to domes on the top floor. MnM, though, they're going to look to, I'm sure, bring that same sort of ferocity, Des. They had a couple of kills. Solotov going in there on the entry, just really winding back the clock, getting those early frags and giving MnM a big advantage. They need more of that from him.
I mean, picking up a 3K, you're never going to complain about in any way, shape, or form. For me, quite critically, it's the fact that the front three of MnM that I spoke about all got on the board as well, right? Yuzus, Tyrant, and Solotov all getting themselves involved. That's a good sign, because although we had an interview with Nello and he kind of didn't agree, he was like, you know, Tyrant's doing fine, it's not an issue. It was an issue. He wasn't getting frags the way that he used to. He used to be one of their top fraggers in the team. But with only really Yuzus and Solotov dropping any numbers, the team were struggling in a number of games. So for me, it's been seeing those three come back online together, because when they do that, that's when the team really starts to look special.
Lems has taken a ton of damage in an early engagement there, and none has been returned onto the side of MnM. Sometimes we look at these siege lineups as a terms of sort of overall HP, you know, the 500 plus mark that MnM currently sit on, whereas now BDS find themselves more around the 400, the 430 mark. So it's not going to be an easy round from here on in. Lems is going to have to be very, very careful on that Wamai. They want those extra magnets out there. They don't want to be in fear of those throwables coming in. Tyrant, he's not too sure about challenging onto Renshiro, and Renshiro's doing a great job here of holding onto Armory Stairs. We're nearly halfway through the round, and he's only just being pushed out of that position.
Yeah, Renshiro only just dipping out of there as well, so I think giving enough of something to worry about almost for the attackers, but not enough that he has to worry too much himself about getting caught out. So slowing them down for a couple of seconds, about 90 seconds in, far from the end of the world for MnM here, and I believe these two, they know exactly what's going on. They've been here a million times as well. Alems and Solotov squaring up, but ultimately it's Alems to collect the kill.
Doesn't matter that he's low health, Alems is able to find his way to the opener. Neo, he's going to take down Shaiko, and that's not ideal for BDS. Every player that they lose, I'm not saying they'll wish it was Alems, but you want that low HP player to be the one to go if anybody has to. You know, you don't want to keep losing those full HP players around them because it just puts them in a precarious situation come at the end of the round. 4v4 as we've had a little bit of fencing back and forth. A big blow dealt with Solotov going for MnM. Though he was really the catalyst in round one, and now they're going to need somebody else to step up and power them on into sight.
Great nade, but doesn't quite finish off Renshiro. Does take away about a third of his HP here. Now having to be a little bit more careful in terms of how he moves around the sites. Neo's been sat around White Stairs for the longest time. Tyrant on the crossfire as well. But you can see for MnM where these pieces are all starting to align. But can they find the kills? There's still one more behind Bunks. And for a second there, he wasn't full flashed. Yuzu's into a second. Two left standing as they expect a window play to come through. It's simply not going to happen. It's Playday left alone inside a pit. MnM with a very comfortable closeout in round two.
I get the feeling, Des, that MnM might want this major spot.
You think, Tim? What gives that one away?
They're certainly playing like it, aren't they? There's absolutely no stopping them at the minute. BDS trying to put walls up, but MnM just tearing them down. Left, right, centre. It doesn't matter what's going on. They are finding a way in those first two rounds, and what a start from them. Oregon, BDS, we'd expect to see them maybe picking up those two primary defensive sites. Looking then at a 4-2 half, but no, MnM, they've already got there too, and they are hungry for more.
My main recollection with MnM on this map, I forget who it was against, but they had things like being on the attack. They were really hell-bent on getting executions down. They had the right setup coming in for them, but the actual execution in the closing 20, 30 seconds was often just terrible, and it would cost them so many rounds throughout that game. I believe they got one attacking round through it. I forget who it was against. It was back in stage 2, maybe stage 1. My memory's terrible at this age, Tim. I've turned 30 in a couple of weeks. I'm done for. Don't know how yours is still going.
As will you.
But overall, I think what we're seeing in this game is much better execution closing coming out from MnM. In those dying 20, 30 seconds, things are looking much sharper. They're looking much more convincing. That's the kind of thing that will not only help you beat BDS, but go on to a major and also beat some international teams.
Certainly is. We're going to have Users working his way into small tower on the sledge, supported by Tyrant. The drones are racing ahead, but they're not going to pick anybody up at the minute. Shaiko and everybody really on the side of BDS going much more back to that BDS default that we expect. Yes. Shaiko in Shaiko's spot. All of the operators on site. The furthest they are straying at the minute is Renshiro on rear stage stairs. It won't take much to push him back down to play in pillars. And this is much more the sort of BDS classic defensive basement that we would expect. Playing that turtle style, not really stretching out into the map, not really giving MnM those early engagements.
Really thought for a second then Tyrant fancies a cheeky charge all the way through Freezer. Renshiro's waiting to get droned out here, and as soon as a drone comes through, he should take it out and then back himself away. It's a go-to classic. We see it all the time where Jaegers will collect the occasional free drone or two and then back away. If they know he's still here, this could be a real cheeky freebie coming out for Tyrant, but at this point, I'm pretty sure Renshiro's thinking, okay, I'm really got to be careful how close I play here. And as a freedom of mind there, he has backed away slightly, knowing that, okay, I've seen a drone a couple of times. That normally means a player is coming to try and capitalize on it. So we'll keep yourself in a little bit more of a safe position.
It feels like he's on a rubber band at the minute. He sort of stretches himself up there, and then he gets dragged back down, and then he has another look, and then he gets pulled back to safety. But I think that's the point has come for Renshiro now to drop himself back down to that pillar's position at the halfway mark. But that's not bad for BDS at all. They're going to have to be careful of the hatch, though. If there's the utility there on the side of MnM, which they have got a couple of nades in the pocket of Users, if he gets himself into meeting, he could well try to make a little bit of a nuisance of himself onto that pillar's position, but it's not going to be an easy one because, of course, there's likely to be the ADSs there. There's likely to be the utility. Nitro goes out and catches Neo. He'll probably get picked up by Tyrant here, but still a lot of damage done to MnM there.
He thought there might be a camera somewhere there, so he was checking out for that before he did try and go in for the res, but they will get away with it. Back on his feet, Neo comes. Not really a great loss if you do lose the Maverick. Of course, previously would have lost 2 nades with that, but here it's 3 flashbangs and a little bit of the blowtorch, which is not really of all that much use. But in comes the execute, down go the Candelas, in come the gunfights, but it's Nello who finds himself on his backside. Leaky Fat gets one onto Tyrant as well, as now we stare down the barrel of a 3 versus 3.
It's going to be a close finish as we have Nello effectively out of this one. He's down. Can he be collected? It is going to be a big risk, but looks like they might just choose to take it here. They have to really. Neo and users both on really low health. They managed to get him back in the fight, but Renshiro steps up perfectly. Time 3v3, 3v2 as Leakerback finds Solotov, and it's all falling apart for MnM in round 3. Nello, he's going to find himself one. The diffuser's down, and could this be the saving grace for MnM? Are they able to fight their way through to a win here? Leakerback, he's having none of it there.
Nello's got to clutch this out so massively now as well, and when Leakerback's feeling it in this round, it's going to be so difficult. Finds the down, but can he found the last man? It's Nello versus Leakerback. Leakerback's got to make his move, but Nello clutches out the 1v2. MnM will find the 3rd round on Oregon.
Not the first time that we've seen Nello with an incredible clutch, and I'm sure that it will not be the last. An absolute beauty in the 1v2 there. Played it perfectly, took the engagement onto the shotgun player to his own advantage, kept it at distance, and won that fight. Great play from Nello in round 3, and MnM are cruising right now.
They are. I mean, BDS did kind of fight their way back into things, so I'll give them that. That was much closer as a round than maybe the prior 2 had been. I thought when we hit the 7-second mark, I was like, all right, BDS have got this. They've got the close up. But that's kind of the crux of the downstairs, I guess, when you get bunker busted open by things like the Candelas, or the Capitao coming out as well. There's a lot there that did go in MnM's favour. However, you can't take it away from them. It still keeps them on the board. The thing now you've got is this kind of first quarter of the game done, Tim. I always love talking about this. You've seen one of each site. Now for BDS, they've got to change things up a little bit and keep on rotating their way through. Here, they're going to try things out on the meeting side of things too, try and bring a bit more spice to it rather than saying, okay, let's go back downstairs again and make it a 3rd loss potentially in that first off on the downstairs. This again is trying to keep MnM guessing and figuring things out as they go along. I'm looking over on their attacking side. They're going for a very classic big tower take, by the way, Tim. The Oseron side, the Thermite for getting up attic open, the wall opened up as well. Tyrant might be the real backstab for them here playing on the Nukken already. He's looking to make a move through.
I love this from Tyrant. He's going to get his man, surely. No, somehow. Shaiko just manages to strafe across, split doorway there, and survive. That was your moment, Tyrant. That was the big opener that you were looking for, but unfortunately couldn't find it. However, doesn't lose any health in the attempt, so not the end of the world for MnM, but it could have been a crucial blow. Could they have dealt it? Now then, Leakerfan, he's up on the top floor on the Valkyrie once again. We've seen this already. It didn't really pan out fantastically. BDS, they have to keep hold of the top floor this time, though, because it is that direct access, that direct vertical down into sight.
Really, MnM are just playing this by the book as well, right? Like, Tyrant tried to get a cheeky backstab in. You're forgiven for not being able to find a kill there, but did come pretty close. Otherwise, for MnM, everything is about this push in, coming in through green. I think they just had Leaky Fat try and impact out onto the shield on the outside, but it stays standing for now. Neo still with one more in back pocket, and both of those impacts gone from Leaky Fat's back pocket.
Tyrant just going to be holding that angle, and you just feel like he lost some of that aggression early doors. Now then, Thatcher EMP is going to allow Attic Wall to be opened up, just gives a more favourable angle to push in here. You don't have to work from behind the boxes, but BDS are going absolutely nowhere. They're going to put the shield down, they're going to put the line in the Sandes, and they're going to dare MnM to step over it, but Tyrant does. He doesn't just step over it, he trashes it, and that leaves us now in a 5v4.
No exothermics left, Tim. They were too late in pulling the trigger. Nello got it on the wall and got himself into a safe spot before pulling the trigger. And that was more than enough time to get away with that one as well. Get the Kite Electric Claw down. Had a second to toss on if required. And now MnM, the kind of step one, the absolute crux of this attack, has gone away from them. They can't get the wall open.
It has. They're going to continue looking for kills, though. 50-second left to go. Users on a big rotate. The whole team on a big rotate at this point. They've just completely given up, as you said. Without that exothermic, they have no interest in rear stage anymore. Solotov, he's going to drop himself away as well. And BDS, I want to see them reacting to this, Des. I want to see them recognising that the pressure's been lifted and that the likelihood is that they're going to find themselves on the receiving end of a whole map rotate, and they now need to look after Kitchen.
Well, Renshiro here might get blindsided from the back if he's not too careful. Is he looking the right way? Oh, Yuzus was so close. Renshi still with no idea, though, that he's got the sledge bearing down on him. He was looking the wrong way, and Yuzus finds the kill. At 5v3, we said earlier on that MnM we thought could not possibly lose it, but they've only got 10 seconds to play. 2 kills come in, make it a third. Leaky Fat, the last one left standing, but can they make the plant happen? Leno's going in for it. They can't quite find the man. As the smoke comes through, he'll rotate himself back over. He sees the foot, but no! Nello can't complete it. BDS get around 4 on the back of a cheeky little toe shot, Tim.
No, just a little bit too far out there, and his plant position and his, alignment of his body is not usually a criticism I would make of Nello, but he just left himself sticking out beyond that bomb chassis, and they know that Leakafac's in security. That's why the smoke canister goes there. You just got to plant a bit further down that counter. You plant in the middle of it. You covered from both rotations then, and it was just unfortunate for Nello. A great moment for Leakafac, able to just close it out for BDS, but we've said it before, we'll say it again, Des, you cannot rely on hero players. You cannot rely on those final 2 seconds stopping the diffuser going down to win you 1v2. BDS, they need to come out and they need to win a round here on merit.
They do. That round then, I'll give full credit towards MnM as well. The rotation being acknowledged rather than really trying to force the issue was a real sign of discipline. So many teams will waste so much time trying to attack a certain side of a map that is very clearly heavily defended. You haven't got the right utility to attack it, and they'll go, well, this is the plan that we came in with, so we've now got to stick it. Being able to go, right, wall is staying closed, everyone outside now are rotating across towards the west side. That takes a strong call. So whether Nello's made that call or someone else on the team has, I'm not sure. But either way, it was a real good sign of maturity coming out of the boys. Just a shame they couldn't close it out there due to having a little leg sticking out the back of the diffuser.
Round number 5, 3-1, MnM. They are racing through this game so far, racing towards Sweden. If they can get themselves a regulation win, I'll give you the reminder, they will qualify for the major, and the final spot will be fought out between the remaining teams. Now then, I'm going to have a bottom floor defense. We're going to be going back to laundry this time around. It's so easy to mistake them now because such a heavy presence up on the top floor once again. Ranchiro, Lems, all up there. Leakafac as well, I think, just trying to make their presence felt. Leakafac is able to this time on Solotov, 5 versus 4, and that's the best start to a round that BDS have had yet. They've woken up here, Des.
And there's a bit of a change as well, because think about last time round, it was Solotov marching through the top floor, picking off 2. This time, he's the one who's gone down early. Now, it's far from the end of the world. All the key tools that MnM need are on side. They have the Candelas. They've got the 4 hard breach gadgets. They've got what they need to make this stick. But losing that 1 man early on means BDS can now pull their way back, knowing they're in a 5 versus 4, sit behind the utility, that potential C4 in the back pocket of Playday, and just let MnM try and figure things out here while they're a man down.
That's it. It's just really taken the pressure off BDS. Neo, he's going to be looking to move up onto the top floor. Knows that he needs to get something going up there, but he's got Lems hard right inside of the armory. And it's not going to be an easy push forward for him. Candela is going to come in. I think they're well aware that he's there. Lems is going to have to make a move. He does, but he is completely blinded. And Nello takes an easy fight there. Well played and great use of the Candela to get the job done, get the Mossy taken out. But there's the clock is going to become the 6th man here. 55 seconds left to go. Ranchiro finds Tyrant and MnM. They're nowhere near the site yet.
Oh, Leakafac still. I think that, Neo, calm down now. Leakafac, I'm pretty sure they know he's hovering upstairs, but he could be a massive backstab for them. They've got the Maverick sat watching the angle, expecting him to come running on down, whilst the other 2 focus on site. But that leaves the execute itself a little bit bare, to be honest with you, Tim. They've got to make it stick. Playday finds 1, he uses it into a trade back onto Renshiro, but it's still a 3 versus 2 for BDS.
Playday manages to cut users down in the late trade there, taking him out of highway, and it's all up to Nello. 1v3 on site. There's no option but to get the kills here. Playday cuts him down, and that is going to be BDS fighting their way back into things from 3-0 down to 3-2 now. They're going to find their last defensive round. They might just be able to level things up, and well, doesn't this just throw things up into the air when we consider those major spots?
It really shows the snowball effect of these rounds, right? Like, many might look at the start of a round and go, oh, okay, they got an entry, okay, it got traded, whatever. The knock-on effect of it is so palpable between this round and what we saw back in round 1. When Solotov got that 2K back in round 1, BDS were back on site. They were... I can't think of a nice real PG way to say that. They were scared, Tim. That's the nice soft way of putting it. They were scared. They were back on site. MnM had all the tools. They had everything they needed. That last round, then, they still had the tools, but the numbers were working against them. So even when they were trying to make things work, you had the Maverick having to sit and watch Big Tower Stairs. You had one player working down Big Tower Stairs. You had one more, Nello, completely by himself, pushing up the other side of the map. So it just goes to show that, yes, utility obviously really matters, but the big thing there was the numbers, the ability to play for trades, to play off each other. That was what was really ripped away from MnM, and BDS showing entries. They can determine exactly how the rest of the round goes, assuming a team can play it well.
What I'm liking from BDS is the variety that we see in them play at the minute. You know, the BDS of old, we might have seen 3 laundry rounds and 3 turtle defenses done in the same way, just hoping to win the gunfights.
Absolutely.
You know, relying on that skill to win them out the rounds. But that's not the case now. We've seen the top floor played twice on basement defenses, but we've seen it played in different ways with different numbers of players up there, and they're willing to change things and adapt, and I like that from BDS, and I think that has been one of the big strengths for them in stage 3, and it's continuing to be as they've managed to fight their way back into this against the tough MnM side. MnM are making them earn every round that they put on the board.
Absolutely are, right? But at this point, it's still 2 on the board for BDS, and they are still managed to scrap their way back through. And if anything scares me about BDS, very often it is their attacks. I know it's maybe not as high as the defensive win rate, but we've seen this team historically be so good at coordinating attacks, where essentially a 3-2-1 count execute is their forte. I think back to old school BDS on Clubhouse. They've still got 4 of those 5 members that used to pull off those ridiculous plays. So this won't be as easy as it looks, even if MnM walk away with a 4-2 here. And that's looking a little bit unlikely now. Tim with the Lems finding the opener onto Solotov again.
BDS have been good when they get themselves the advantage. We've seen it a couple of times where MnM have had to try and adapt in the mid-round, try and change things up, and it hasn't really worked out for them. So a big start there. Lem's not taking too much damage either. That's absolutely fine for him. And Solotov, I picked up on the first round as I was so excited about his performance after that initial 3K. He's done nothing since in the 5 following rounds, and we never like to single players out, but we gotta be seeing more from him.
We have. That's the big one. Let's see if things step forward. Ooh, okay. Nice little streaky side angle there. Actually manages to get rid of the Salma on the wall. So I don't think it's going to work again here unless she can take down a kill. Oh, I love this from Nello. Use it as bait, step forward to try and find the kill. And in fact, it's Shaika who goes down elsewhere. That's the kind of kill that you're looking for. So with some control established now through this top floor, this might, I was going to say might be salvageable, but now Nello's down to 1 HP.
If they lose somebody on the flank here, you're going to be absolutely furious, because Leakefakt was picked up on the drone. They know that he was moving up Armory stairs. They have to be aware of that. There was somebody on the drone at the time we saw it, but it looks like they might just stray into Leakefakt's line of sight here. They have to go and deal with him. Renshiro is going to get the kill onto Nello. Playday onto user. So Lems picks up the final big round from Lems, and that's going to be BDS tying things up 3-3, and that is much more the defensive half they were looking for.
Yeah, to be down 3-0 and to bring it back to 3-3. Great effort by BDS. MnM losing a little bit of the fire there, I think, in those last 2 or 3 rounds. However, have a very good chance on the defensive side to keep this going. They're going to start things off in the downstairs of Laundry and Supply. For BDS, though, I can't help but go back to what I said earlier. They were historically a phenomenal Oregon team. Maybe less so lately, but it's Oregon. they are very comfortable with playing this map. We've seen it so many times before as well. So for MnM, I imagine getting out in the map, trying to slow BDS down, pick up a couple of early entry kills, that should be their main game plan. I say that, looking at their comp, I'm thinking, okay, I'm seeing the Mirror on side, I'm seeing the Vulcans of the Goyo on side, I'm seeing the Mute Jammer on side. Those are dug in, but you may well see Solotov and Neo getting out around the map. Very good.
Too many rhyming words. There's
Too
too many rhyming
Molotov,
words.
Solotov, Tolotov, Rolotov, just whatever. Go through it all day. He's like a sponsored player, like Solotov for the Molotovs. It's just beautiful.
It's too, it aligned too well.
It is.
It aligned too well. Down into the basement, MnM go then, round 7, it's going to be their first defense. Interesting difference to what BDS did is that MnM are bringing along the mirror. And it's, I think, often characteristic of MnM. You know, they will use the different operators. They will go for the funky bands. They will try and mix things up in the lineups sometimes. They've got Tyrant on the Goyo. They've got Usus on the mirror. You know, I love this. I love the use of mirror. We don't often see enough of it. Neo's getting really aggressive here, but it's not going to pay off. As Leaker fact well aware, the drone was ahead of him, and in comes the opener. MnM, they're going to have to be cautious about overstepping the mark. 1
or 2 roamers dealt with them. The only one I'm looking at is Solotov, and even here, he's sat playing on site, still deploying a bit of utility around the site itself. So if I'm BDS, I'm feeling pretty cozy at this point. Sure, you got to worry about the mute downstairs, but with that pre-play C4, will he find anyone sleeping through the top floor? Don't know if he will.
Things get tasty
Get out,
if
boys.
BDS win. Just as a reminder, BDS looking good at the minute, and if they take the full 3 points here, MnM do hold on to 4th place for the time being. But MnM will then have to rely not only on 1 result, but on 2. They would need a Rogue and a Wolves win in order to go to the major. They would be, you know, fully at the behest of those results.
Being real,
very tricky.
Those probably are the results that you're expecting to come in, though, right?
You would expect it. So, but MnM can't rely on that. They can't rest on that fact because, as we've seen countless times, fate just has a way of twisting that tail.
It does. It does. I mean, we look back at the last Playday with Rogue losing, right? Like, that's why they're not yet found themselves guaranteed a spot at the major. It's why it leaves things so open and so exciting. Here, a bit of a changeover for BDS as they've rotated things around. And actually, interestingly, MnM are doing exactly the same. Rotated some of their utility around, very narrowly missing a headshot there as well. Onto the player, I think it was Ranshiro, working his way down towards Big Tower Stairs. They're gearing up here for a multi-point execute. It feels like MnM just locking in and loading here, ready for when the push does come in.
First nade comes down, Tyrant manages to avoid it. He knows that the drop is likely to follow. Goyo canister is going to be detonated. Smoke goes out. We're not going to have the drop come in just yet. Solotov full flashed, and here comes the push. Shaiko gets aggressive into Shaiko's spot. Manages to find the kill onto Tyrant. 5 versus 3 now as MnM are backs to the wall fighting here, but backs to the wall being decimated by Shaiko as he finds the kill onto Solotov. 5 versus 2, and BDS just watching over sight like a tidal wave.
What a C4!
He's going to be taken down. Huge double kill, and Useless goes in for a 3rd. It's all of a sudden 2v2, and BDS are on the back foot.
Oh my God, he's made it a quad. Alem's has got to chase down Nello, the last man left standing inside of Freezer. In he comes, he sees him, but Nello once again with another clutch gives MnM a round. What a C4 from Yuzus, though.
Was anybody else mentally screaming, Nello, what are you doing?
I saw him.
He's coming for you, and he's
vaulted
climbing up on the box.
Parkour, bang!
He's trying to style it out with like some sort of jump shot, and I'm thinking, Nello, get out of there.
It's unreal. What a C4, though. Getting the 2. But the real impressive part for me was him finding that slice, the small little sight line that you get between the chassis and the shelves to bring down Leaky Fack as he crossed to pick up the diffuser. Just beautiful from Usus there. Essentially, I don't want to say he solo won it because obviously it took Nello to win the 1 versus 1 as well, but it was enough that completely swung round a 5v2. He won it, Tim, he won it.
He won it. We all know it. Nello knows it. It's absolutely fine. Nello did close it out. You know, he kept his cool in that. Kept his cool more than I did in that situation. But yeah, used this huge 4K there. Just completely turned the round on its head. It was 5v2, Des. You know, it was all but 1 for BDS at that point. Shaiko was on a rampage, and then just one of those hero moments turned it on its head.
The funny thing is, those are normally the moments that MnM would lose in the favourable situation.
Yes. They'd be on the receiving end of that.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad to see they've got the composure to also win it when they're the ones in that, sorry, not in the favourable situation, but can instead clutch out. All right then. At 4-3 we sit. MnM with a good start on the defensive side. Maybe good in terms of outcome, not so good in terms of execution. That's what I want to see improve here in round 8. Show us that you can still keep course correcting here. Get yourself some solid defenses off both in the early and the mid round, as well as having a bit of clutch in case you do need it into the late round. On BDS' side, once again, that Kappa Tower has become omnipresent. Present throughout both teams' attacking lineups. I think more so because obviously when you're looking into execute inside the basement, those smokes, the firebolts as well, just so valuable in these relatively tight, pokey areas of Oregon.
Drones are going to be going in ahead of BDS. I think they're going to be happy, Des, to just continue doing what they were doing, to be honest. They were 5-2 up. They got hit by, I won't call it a freak nitro, but an unusually effective nitro. You know, BDS aren't going to worry too much about that. It happens. They're going to look to just go in with the same aggression, the same, you know, tenacity as they did in the previous round, and they know that the kills are going to come their way if they continue. The thing is, at the minute that they are finding the gunfights, Renshiro, he doesn't need a gun though, Des. He's going to use a nade. He's going to find an explosive kill and take Tyrant out of this. Straight onto the cams goes Tyrant, but that is a man less for MnM.
Are we in the wrong meta? We've got 6 nades on side of a BDS as well. They've all been used, of course, but it's been a long while.
Finger's not in there, is she?
It's been a long while since I've seen that many come through, but no, indeed, they are off the board, and it's still 2 kills that have come the way of BDS. Almost making it a third. Leaky Fack almost too cheeky into that 1v1 versus Solotov, who, after round 1, we've just barely seen get involved in this game, Tim.
You've not just... You might have given birth to a new name there, Des. Leaky Fack or Cheeky Fack. If he goes in and starts getting kills like that. Beautiful headshot on to Usus, and another cheeky moment for him. Neo is going to shut down Ranchero at the top of White Stairs, but that is probably going to be all as Playday goes in, looking to get the diffuser down. The angles are covered for BDS here. They know, and that is Leaky Fack again. 3 in the round, I believe, and that's going to be BDS taking another one, leveling things up 4-4. And this is hard fought right now. Boy, this is tasty.
It is. Sat at 4-4. I forget all the notes I had written down actually about the outcomes of this game, but for MnM, you know that you need those 3 points in. Understandably, while now taking a tactical timeout, have that conversation, get things reset, back on board, back on track, because at 4-4, the closer you get towards overtime, the more precarious your situation starts to look.
Certainly does. Like you say, tactical timeout, just to have that moment, try to, you know, level things out, try to just get another round on the board. That's what it's about at this point. It's about the next 2. It's about getting this one, taking that first step, and then doubling down on it, just then using that momentum to power yourselves forward. And right now, I think both teams are going to be taking, you know, positives away from this, but both had great moments. Yes, there have been mistakes, but you don't really feel them. You know that, you know, this game for me is more about those moments where teams have won rounds rather than lost them. And it's just such a positive matchup at the minute. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
You know what I have just really started enjoying, Tim, that I've just discovered? I can basically hug myself with these extra arms. So when you're not here to cuddle me...
That sounds like the saddest little story.
You could, it is sad. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I've made some arms so that I can hug myself because you're not here.
Literally. It was meant to be cute, not sad.
Oh, I feel sad now because I want to give you a hug.
Oh. Well, Tim, I'll just pretend they're your arms and you can just imagine your ghosty arms cuddling me. Let's get into it then. Round 9 is underway. And for BDS, we've already spoken there a little about that timeout for MnM. Once again, Leaky Fack is jumping straight back onto the Nook. Why wouldn't you? After netting a 3K in the last round and doing so effectively. It also looks like once again we're going to see that 6 nade comp coming out of them too, with the Nook, the Sledge and the Yana all on side. It is looking pretty explosive inside the halls of Oregon.
Leaky Fack once again pushing forward. 10 kills so far in this round. He's going very, very well at the minute. Likely to confirm. He doesn't show any, to continue rather, doesn't show any signs of slowing down at the minute. Going to get him in on the entry. He's got Ranchiro drawn in for Shaiko as well. MnM are going to come under pressure very, very quickly here, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the pace BDS have historically been able to go, yes. And with Leaky Fack being the addition they needed really to make things go even faster, 100%. Already you've got Neo being challenged here ever so slightly. Ranchiro working his way across from inside of showers as well, and Shaiko's got himself already at the bottom of white here, now with a lot of pressure around security door itself. It's a good start for BDS inside the opening 60 seconds.
There's been a lot of talk around Leakafak, of course, coming in and not so much, looking as any sort of replacement for the role of Shaq. But what a kill! Absolutely deletes Nello on the rear stage. It was a real performative number from Leakafak. Playday able to get in amongst the chaos there and start putting the diffuser down, but Usus manages to hit his man from the hatch. Solitov from the rear onto Leakafak, and all of a sudden MnM have taken another swing here, but Ranchiro, he brings it back to 2v2, and this is just back and forth at the minute. 2v2 at the halfway mark.
He's in a spot where he could get a plant down here inside of sight, just go for meeting, as no one's really watching it. I know that he's slightly fearful of the hatch, which can see the stage there, but I think for a few seconds it wasn't really being watched by MnM. What absolute chaos things have broken into. Now he's got himself inside the corner of kitchen and looking for a plant. Shaiko baiting it out so well, just teasing them with the feet of the plant coming through, enough that it gets the run around. 2 nice kills for BDS there in the close to get themselves round 9.
Just to finish the point that I was making during there, it's certainly not a point of Leakafak replacing Shaiko. That's not really a word that I want to use, but just coming in and taking some of the weight, taking some of the, the burden of those big kill numbers coming in, and making it so that it's not necessarily all about Shaiko going in and being the focus for those kills, having that second threat. And he's certainly done that. He's actually gone over 100 kills in his first stage here, Des. Doing fantastically well. Currently sits on, 93 plus 11. He's on 104 at the minute. Shaiko has not made 100 for the first stage in a long time. Now then, however, Shaiko, don't get me wrong, he's still on 93 days. It's unlikely that he hits 100. He's still had a hell of a stage.
Is he on 93 with this game as well?
With this game included,
right? Okay.
He's on 93, so he's had a hell of a stage. Don't get me wrong. Tyrant has actually come very close in this conversation as well. 94 he sits on at the moment, and Solitov sits on 96. So we could have another couple of centenary performances in this game. But Leakafak has got the job done, and he has really put a statement there. Like I say, it's not about replacing, but it is about supporting, and he's done that fantastically well and given Shaiko and the rest of BDS a bit more freedom.
What's Citizen on? Have you got the numbers there
Citizen
available?
Currently is on. Hang on, let me keep scrolling.
You'll find him, don't worry. Or you can just do Control F and do CTZN, it might help.
I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm just scrolling down.
Is he that low? Surely
Citizen's on 59 kills.
59? What is that? I mean, one thing that's kind of been a permanent staple, I feel, is Shaiko and Citizen have always been in the 100-kill club. Before a major, I always go and do a little dig and look at global stats and go, okay, here are players around the world that broke the 100-kill club. You normally get 2 or 3 per region getting inside of that, and Shaiko and Citizen have been present there for the longest time. So for neither player to make it, just shows the change in tides that we've got here in EUL.
It does. Crine and Spite, both the other candidates, really, along with Benja. So that rogue heroic game, that's going to be another one to keep an eye on. Benja on 92, Crine on 88, Spite on 85. So big performances needed out of rogue for either of their players to get there, but certainly possible for Benja. But back to this game. BDS winning round 9. It is now 5-4, and BDS still looking to fight for that 3 points. As I've said before, winning is a habit, and they want to continue. They want to win that last match before they head on into the major. BDS, of course, already qualified. MnM fighting for their spot. But with the way things are going at the minute, Des, it looks like we could have to wait a little while to get the Molotovs confirmed.
Still lots to do for sure. I mean, Shaiko very narrowly keeping himself alive there as well on 5 HP. What you comment earlier on, Kate, brought me back to as well was historically Shaiko had to be that guy, and we know he's a very capable entry who will march through 2 or 3 players. But he tended to like playing a bit more like I don't want to call it a lurk role, because that was how Citizen was always described, but he likes playing the solo role. Iana was his go-to operator, especially on this map for the longest time, because he could do everything by himself whilst the other 4 players on his team focus on a different part of the map. Here he gets to keep on playing that role because they have got a confident player in Leakafak that can lead them on the way in, even if here he's playing on the Capitao. Out comes some of the utility, and this surely is where BDS pull the trigger and say, let's go. Alems on the drop goes down for 1. BDS of Playday in for the second replacement, but it's a massive set of kills coming in for Neo and Usus around Pillar. They've held off the French onslaught. BDS dashed by the wayside, and Shaiko the last one left standing. We're going to 5-5, Tim, which you know what that means? It guarantees we get all 12 rounds.
It guarantees all 12, and it guarantees the potential complications that come with overtime in terms of those major spots. We will keep you abreast of all the permutations and how things look. Don't you worry. 5-5 then as MnM take a fantastic flawless round there. It's got to be said. What a performance from them. And it just pushes them now into round 11. They had that 3-0 start. They wouldn't have wanted things to be this close, but it continues to be so as BDS just keep fighting.
Hashtag BDS fighting? Isn't there hashtag BDS power?
BDS power, yeah.
BDS power, it's not BDS fighting. I think it was C9 fighting was the old one back in the day. Sandbox fighting?
Somebody's definitely had it. Somebody's definitely.
Oh, C9 have. I know C9 100% had it before, but I'm pretty sure other orgs have used it as well. Either way, I'm getting sidetracked here, going down the thought process of who used the word fighting in their hashtag, but here we are. As things step forwards then, we said at that 5-5 point now we do get to see all 12, either it ends 7-5 and someone takes all 3 points, or the more likely outcome, given it's Tim and I also casting the game, we go 6-6, we go through to overtime, and that's where things get a little bit more dicey.
Standard setup so far, nothing unusual. It's going to be up on the top floor. Very small rotation just brought in by Tyrant there. Going to allow him to play up on tier 3. And then he may drop away, move back into Attic. We've not seen necessarily... And Shiro. He's going to take Solotov down with a headshot to kick us off.
I mean, that's a good start if you're BDS. Otherwise, you are now suddenly worrying greatly about your possible prospects of coming out of this game. It's Solotov again, though, has been found on the entry. I imagine at this point he's probably 1 of 4, 1 of 5 on entry. It's definitely not been his day when it comes to the early kills. Sure, round 1 was great with the 2K, but after that, BDS have kind of figured him out and things have not gone their way. Shaiko almost finding the kill onto the player on white, but just narrowly missing out.
It's worth remembering a 2-point win in overtime will still be enough for MnM. It'll take them on to 17 points. Yes, exactly that. It will take them on to 17 points. And the next closest is 13. So even with a full 3-point win, they cannot then be caught. So they are still battling tooth and nail here for that place in Yongaping. Tyrant up on the top floor. He's going to be just getting those long angles, and I tell you what, they need to be careful here, do BDS. If they stray a little bit too far, even on the outside of the map, they might find themselves in danger.
MnM's still dancing around
there
shadows
you go,
here
exactly
as well.
that.
Yeah. That's exactly what you expect to see, but who finds who first? They're dipping around, they're looking for each other. Tyrant, he's going to find him in the end as well. He's the one who's got the superior position with the cover, and he finds a freebie down to a 4 versus 4 as nades start to sing skyward here, coming out of BDS's back pockets, but no one yet falling down to them.
Big moment for Tyrant there, just leveling things up, especially with the timing being as it is. 4v4 and only a minute really left for BDS to get working. But Chaiko, he doesn't need a minute. He needs fractions of seconds to find a nade kill onto Nello. 4 versus 3 damage done to Leakyfax. Still alive at the minute, but it's Tyrant once again battling with him. Just trying to find that final bullet. Just trying to bring MnM back into things. Just trying to square things away. 50 seconds left to go. And they're just holding their angles at this point in time. Users, he's aware of those verticals as well. Useless low, Tyrant low. This is not going to be a comfortable finish to the round for MnM.
Everyone's falling low. There's a bullet or two between the 3 of them, I think, at this point, Tim. Blow on one of them and they'll fall over. Tyrant literally on a slither of HP. BDS have got the numbers. Got no gadgetry left there on the Capital. I'm looking towards the other members as well. I'm thinking Akeda's not a ton, but it turns out bullets are more than enough. Leakyfax finds Yuzu's only 2 left standing. Tyrant brings 1 back at the very least as we get to the last 20. Diffuser, but they find the kill anyway. Renshiro with the last 2. BDS move up to match point, and for MnM, 1 round stands between them and having to wave goodbye to a major.
Potentially. They're going to be very reliant on other results if they don't get the win here. That's what we need to remember. BDS, if they take the full 3 points, leave MnM sat on 15, then relying on neither Na'Vi nor Heroic winning their games. It's still not quite so straightforward, of course. If just one of their teams win by 2 points, for example, it'll tie things up and it all starts going down to tiebreakers. So there is still plenty of opportunity for MnM, but they don't want to be sat waiting with their fate in somebody else's hands. And a round here in round 12 will be a huge moment for them in terms of that qualification. They're back up to dorms. They've just been there. BDS have just beaten them here with 20 seconds to spare. MnM, they got to do something differently.
Different is hard as well, though, because
It is.
BDS have found a
Sometimes
lot
differently
of success.
goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, BDS have found a lot of success in nade play as well, right? They've now done exactly the same again, where they've got three more operators with them on side again. That Nook, the Sledge, the Iana has kind of been a staple of their attacking rounds. And here you're also seeing the Yin coming in. So where that's been things like a Flores on side, I think the Zofia has been pretty staple as well throughout. That's another little bit of flex they're showing them with what Playday can bring along, and just showing that, hey, he hasn't always got to play on the hard support. Things like the Maverick that we've seen in a couple of these rounds. Really, though, it's down to Leakifak here doing some work on the Nook, coming crouching up potentially through the basement.
You just know how silent that operator is on the movement. Tyrant, a big start. Got Ilems in the last round from the same position, Des, and gets Ilems again in the same position. BDS, if they want the win here, they can't be giving away lives quite so easily. Playday, he's going to take the challenge onto Tyrant next. He's going to try to make life difficult for him. I think they know. I think they know about the knock. They certainly do. And Tyrant is able to shut down Leakifak and give us now a 5-3. And MnM, they're cruising towards overtime at this rate.
I really expected a knock today coming out of you there, Tim, but it simply wasn't a thing. Nello brings down Shaiko as well. Those are the kind of kills they're looking for. C4 over the top finds no one. Renshiro bringing one back on the books, but can they make this happen with the old school duo here? Renshiro and Playday play together for a couple of years in a 2 versus 4. Renshiro finds one more, but does he see the man inside of Kids? Yes, he does. And Payday's going to find himself going in for the plant. Chooses to come off it though, Tim, but I don't blame him. He's got 100 seconds still to play with.
1 versus 3, he had to try and do something to put the odds in his favour, but it just wasn't going to happen. Tight angle held, MnM close out the round, and Des, we are going to overtime, and this is where things could get messy in terms of the major. If MnM come away with just 1 point, oh boy, we're going to have to hold on to our hats and wait to see how those final matches play out. Both the Rogue and Heroic game as well as the Na'Vi Wolves matchup could then come into the factors that will decide those final teams making the majors, and I just love it this way, if I'm honest.
I mean, again, if it's you and me casting, Tim, it's basically guaranteed to find itself in overtime at some point. Again, just to remind you, MnM win. They get those 2 points. They guarantee themselves a spot. They lose. I'm pretty sure at that point it gets left down to a little bit of chance and fate, if I'm right, Tim.
Yeah, basically, if they lose, they get 1 point. It puts them on 16, which basically lines them up for both Na'Vi and Heroic, who sit on 13 at the minute, to be able to tie dead level with them if they get the full 3-point win. So then you start going into those tiebreakers. I mean, there is a world where both Na'Vi, Heroic both get onto 16 points. MnM sit on 16 points, and we've got a 3-way shootout with only 2 spots to fight over.
Imagine. Then it gets into the kind of like complicated level of tiebreaker, because it goes round if, then it goes head to head. And if that's still tied, then I don't know. I'll leave that down to the admins to decide at that point.
Well, the round differences at this point are all very similar as well. Plus 3 MnM, plus 3 Na'Vi, plus 2 Heroic. So, you know, unless somebody comes out with a big clear victory, which in honesty is unlikely for any of those matchups, you know, a couple of 7-5s and all of a sudden it's, you know, it's anybody's bet. Tyrant, he's going to get the opener onto Shaiko, and that is a big step forward for MnM. Every kill now, Des, basically, there is 10 kills between MnM and the major. That is the way that they need to look at this. 10 kills in 2 rounds will get the job done.
I'll call it 9 now, because I've already found 1, right?
They've got 1.
There we go. I like this method of counting, too. This is the right motivator for me. You've got 9 more kills onto BDS to cast. And the thing is, for MnM, they get the 2 rounds here. That's what they're looking for, right? Because if they get themselves into 16 and say, for example, any of the 2 teams that can still fight with them win 7 and 5, MnM at least then stay even. The fact that it's in overtime means they can't get a nice clear 7-1 win, for example. It is going to be tight. It's why they need this win here and now, and why they've got to find this round to really get things moving quickly.
think of the pressure that it puts on Rogue as well, though, if MnM get the win here. Rogue really do go into the mixer then, with 3 teams fighting over just 1 spot. Leakerpack moving down into Freezer. He's going to take a chip of damage as he tries to peek around. They're aware that he's there. Nelo's going to continue the fight, and he's already managed to force Leakerpack back there, and he takes away the information that was being fed in as well. Just going to hold that little pixel angle there. Leakerpack, he's trying to fight a fight on the corner, but I don't think he knows that Nelo's got the line onto him. The Candelas go in here, and Nelo, he's going to be beaten back for the time being as BDS try to push themselves into position.
They've kind of like thrown snow, though, it feels like, at the members of MnM, like, yeah, take some of this. And MnM like, okay, I guess we just stay still and wait. They're burning through that utility with no real results to show for it. Finally, they make their move, but Nello wins it. Half flashed out. It wasn't a full flash. Does get the kill onto Alems either way. Solotov is on the deck, but it's still a 4 versus 3 for MnM.
Here comes Leakerpack, but he's going to be shut down by Tyrant Death. Users gets one, and this is the moment for MnM fans. Solotov, he finds the kill onto Playday, and MnM take 1 step out of the 2 they need towards confirming that major spot. Just 1 more round will get the job done for them.
They've got to do it on attack as well, Tim. Can they do it on a rainy Wednesday night in Stoke? Down into the basement we go for laundry and supply for BDS. We spoke about it earlier on. You don't see them massively dug into those same static positions as previously. I turned around for a second then, Tim. I thought you'd taken your mask off and I was about to go, surely not, I've been betrayed. But no, it is still on. I'm glad.
It's on.
Totally in the zone for this one. So again, for BDS, it's going to be about that initial challenge, I think, around the map. One thing that's bitten BDS on their attacks, in my opinion, has been the kind of desire from individual members, mainly Leakerpack and Shaiko, to make magic happen in the early round, to push in solo without any assistance to try and get an early kill. I don't hate it. Like, I don't mind teams taking high risks because that always leads to high rewards, right? But they've been bit in the backside 2, 3, 4 times as a result, as Solotov was back in the first half of this map. And maybe both teams just need to kind of pause a little bit, just breathe, slow it down, play more as a team instead of taking these high-risk plays that so far have punished those taking the risk.
Tyrant has got the kills that he needed, does. He's gone over 100. He's now sat on a 101.
There we go.
So that is now the 2nd player that we've got in the 100 club for this stage. 7-6, MnM. More importantly, they just need 5 more kills. 5 more kills in 1 round will do the job for them. It will get them to Sweden. It will confirm their major position. Now their Tyrant, he takes shots through the window into Shower Corridor, and there is a man lurking around there. You can just see the feet there. Solotov, he can, but he can't find his shots. He's going to just let that opportunity slip by as well. And MnM, they've had a couple of close shaves there, but not been able to take any damage off BDS yet.
Absolutely. As it stands, though, I mean, Renshi's in a good spot as well. Almost manages to find his man. Great play coming out of him as well. Didn't think he'd go that confident with it, but that's the big kind of kill you're looking for if you're a BDS fan. For MnM, it's another moment where those teeth start chattering when you start to feel a little bit nervous. Pray you haven't chewed through your fingernails just yet, because Renshiro's found another. It's not looking good for MnM here, even with a Monty on side. They're down to a 3 versus 5, and this one could go all the way to 15.
Certainly, Code Users is going to manage a little backstab there to take down the first problem that they've encountered. That's Renshiro dealt with, but Leakerpack and Shaiko are still up there. They still need to be cleared out, and they still are there burning time. MnM do have potentially an option to push down towards basement, catch the 2 on site, but with only 3 left alive, it's a difficult ask for them. So instead, they're going to continue battling across the top floor. Users get Shaiko. All of a sudden, this round could have turned around, as
it could have at this point, but can they collapse them way down onto Leakerpack, or can he turn it on them? Turn and burn for 1, but can't find a second. MnM have found themselves at least 2, but I worry about the health bars at this point, Tim. Neo, Nello, the backline players for this team have got 70 seconds to make this work, but they're coming up against Playday and Alems, who are both on 100 HP.
They've been sat pretty in sight this entire time, Des. They're nice and calm. They're just waiting for the storm that is about to come. But as you say, MnM on low health, they're going to have to find a way. You just feel like they need to find a kill for free here, but I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do it. Maybe using the info from Nello, get him down there, shield extended, see what's going on. Looks like that is going to be the case. He's just trying to feed anything back in that can assist Neo maybe in picking up one of these kills, and then they can have that 2v1 situation. Drone coming in from Neo Neo as well. It's all about information. It's all about striking at the right time and in the right way. They need to find an opportunity.
The information's coming on through as well. All they've got to do is just pick out these two players, and it could be a couple of easy freebies coming in. But is there a joint swing coming in here from these members of BDS? Not quite yet. Two kind of separate 1v1s coming through here. Nello trying to look for his man, sees him on the rotate, pistol out, but can't quite find him. They've got to find these kills here and now, but no! It looks like it's going to be all 15, as somehow they've managed to give it away. He does find a kill, but BDS take 14. Tim, say the line.
We're going all the way to 15, Des, and this is a defining moment potentially for this MnM roster. So close, but so far in round 14, the 2v2. You just felt there was the opportunity for Neo there, but so difficult to land those shots in the high-pressure situation that they found themselves, especially with the clock ticking down as it was, and leaves us now 7-7. It all comes down to this for MnM. If they do not win this round, it leaves them on 1 point. It leaves them a step closer to the major. Let's focus on the positive. It means that Na'Vi and Heroic need to be looking for full 3-point wins to dislodge MnM from a position. So that gives them something at least. It gives them some hope. But still, it doesn't secure them. They need the 2.
It's one way to give yourself a bit of a fright on Halloween, isn't it, Tim? I think not getting it all locked in here and now. You have to sit and watch in nervous trepidation.
You're watching from behind their fingers there.
Exactly, yeah. It's like a real bad horror film, which either could go really well and turn out to be really cheesy and crap, and actually you do make it, or it turns out to be the net blockbuster, and you are not going to the major. Let's see how things go, though. They've basically got 3 minutes here that separates them and the major. Let's see if they can overcome that bridge, because BDS are the team that's standing in their way, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Tim. Shaiko's playing Monty.
Well, there's all sorts going on tonight. MnM, they're going to be holding on to Dorms for the final time. The last 2 times we saw them play, it was round 10, round 11. BDS won round 10 on the attack. MnM won round 11 on the defense. So split here the last couple of times that we saw MnM defend it. If we look slightly further back, round 8, BDS won it. So there is a little bit of an edge, I would say, for the attackers. Tyrant has been a nuisance in T3 previously, though. They just haven't had the answer. They haven't been able to deal with him. And I tell you what, Shaiko needs to be careful. Exposing his back towards that armory window could just give an opportunity here. Tyrant, he's having a good look at it as well.
Just want to give a shout out to Fresh as well, as pointed out. Shaiko can no longer get 100 kills. This is first time in 8 stages not breaching 100 kills. But hey, it's been handed over essentially to his teammate in Likafak, who has had another screamer of a night and could yet be the difference maker. C4 in pocket as Shaiko steps forward. He's got himself in the corner. A C4 shouldn't kill him here, but it'll be enough to do a ton of damage if he doesn't keep himself in a safe position.
Tyrant is just managing to find shots onto Alems again. He's killed him 2 rounds from tier 3, and he might just get him a 3rd if Alems continues to push forward. Renshiro nade from underneath. It's going to tickle the feet of Neo, but it's not going to do any more than that. I was glad to see users keep hold of that Nitro for the time being. As you said, Des, it was unlikely to have the impact they needed it to, and there we go. All they do is clear out their own utility, and that just gives more space for Shaiko to move around as he continues to push forward. But Neo, he's got the opener onto Likafak, and MnM, they've got one of the 5 that they need, Des.
One of the 5. He may as well one of the 3 at this point, Tim. It's Likafak as well. 13 kills he's had throughout the game, and him being shut down as the entry is exactly what you're looking for. Look to get a little bit cheeky on the double window, and Neo had the response. BDS feeling not so much stalled out here, but a little bit unsure. In fact, no, I will say it. They are stalled out. They're a little bit lost on this east side, trying to push in, but they've been completely slaughtered by MnM, who in the blink of an eye find the kills they need. They secure themselves a spot to Yonchaping, and that's what you're looking for, boys. All 15 rounds to secure that spot.
All it took them, Des, was one heartbeat as all their fans sat their hearts in their mouths waiting for the outcome of that round. MnM able to lock down those final kills in fractions of a second and change what could have been a horror story into a dream, Des. They are heading to the major.
Their Halloween horror story has ended nice and early, Tim, which is exactly what you want to see. You don't want to leave it down to others to determine whether or not you get there. Just all in all, a really interesting game. I came in saying I've got to see all 3 online. Solotov sadly did not have the strongest of games, but it goes to show that also those backline players in Neo and Nillo have got such massive impacts to have as well. Couple of kills coming out of Neo in that last round. Clutches coming out of Nello. Beautiful stuff. And hopefully that sets them up well for the major.
Absolutely amazing performance from MnM to keep battling there. Nobody expected them really to get the win, I don't think, against BDS, but they've overturned the odds and they've got the job done.
I think I said our third game of the day. I've just realised that's only our second. There's still another big game to go. Rogue versus Heroic is our next game. So how about we head to a break? When we come back, our analyst will break that one down for you, and we'll get ready for the next one.